Back now on Bay Sunday, our next guest is the interim executive director of the Elder Financial Protection Network, better known as EFPN, based right here in San Francisco. This nonprofit seeks to prevent financial abuse of elders by building partnerships and public awareness, driving community outreach, and providing some professional training as well. Leading their efforts and success and experience in nonprofit and community education, I'd like to welcome Claire Smith. How are you?
Very good.
We were just talking about this. This is a big problem because there's so many different ways to communicate now with the internet, of course, telephones and all that kind of thing. But elderly people, especially maybe in their 80s, they're so vulnerable, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, that's the fastest growing segment of older adults right now. When we look at demographics in California, San Francisco in particular has the largest one of the largest populations of people over 65 compared to the state, and then of that, people over 85 are a huge group now. So there's a lot of vulnerability in that population. If people are living alone and isolated, they're more likely to be amenable or open to making friends with people they really don't know.
Yeah, I went online. $3 billion lost last year by elders to these scam artists.
Right.
That's up 12% in the last 4 years. Women, as you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned this, I guess they're more vulnerable than men. Most victims in their 80s, and I guess around the holidays especially.
Yeah, and that is a prime time when people are, susceptible to friendly strangers who might offer to help them and then influence them in a way to gain their trust and then essentially scam them and take their money.
Give our viewers the typical spiel or how they contact, a senior and pilfer money out of them.
Well, a current example is that just came up the other day is a fellow actually received a call from an awards center, and he was told, gee, you just won the sweepstakes, and you may not remember, but you entered a few months back and you're a winner. So in order to claim your $50,000, we do need you to send us about $800 to secure that sweepstakes. And so this fellow actually went into the bank and spoke with his banker and started the arrangements to wire this money to this award center. And this is a very, very common practice. And if you talk to people, I mean, people will get these phone calls themselves. I mean, really people of all ages. But in this case, this fellow was almost 80 years old and was ready to send this money off.
Woohoo.
Now, exactly. Now, we know that typically if you're winning something, you really shouldn't have to pay for the winnings. But again, if you're in a situation where you're isolated and you may not have the kind of support network where you can go to someone or family close where you can say, look, I got this call, and what do you think about this?
What about the banks, the institutions? They're obviously privy to this. Might they red flag that man and say, you got a phone call for what? That kind of thing? Do they help out? Are they in cahoots?
Exactly. Well, actually, they're mandated reporters as of 2007, which means that a bank teller or a personal banker, if they even suspect financial fraud or elder financial abuse when a customer comes in and makes a transfer or withdraw a large sum of money that seems a little unusual, they're required to, mandated by law, to report. And it's just a suspicion. But what it does is, put it on the record, and that report goes into Adult Protective Services. So it is their responsibility to do that. And we do provide training to credit unions and
let's get into that because you provide outreach programs and workshops for seniors as well, right?
Exactly, right. So there are two ways that we address education. One way is through community education events throughout the state of California, partnering with law enforcement, social services agencies, including Adult Protective Services and other community-based organizations. And those events are focused on